In this video tutorial, I am going to discuss about telomeres. We know that eukaryotic DNA is a straight chain DNA. It is non-circular. Okay, so this is the double-stranded DNA, and this DNA is organized in the form of chromosome. So when this DNA organized in the form of chromosome, it becomes associated with certain protein. So similarly, this terminal ends of DNA, they are also in association with certain proteins. So let's show this protein by this. These are its specific protein where this terminal ends of DNA are bound. So this part of terminal DNA plus this specific protein, this part of terminal DNA and this particular protein, this specific protein, they are known as telomeres. Telomeres. So as we can see, telomeres has a two component. One is the terminal DNA, and other one is the specific proteins. So this combination, this complexes of terminal DNA and specific protein, they are known as telomeres. These are also known as shelterines. Okay, but the popular name is the telomeres. This terminal DNA is specific in nature that this terminal DNA is non-coding. It is non-coding. What is the meaning of non-coding DNA? That means this DNA does not code for any RNA and that RNA in turn protein. No, it cannot give rise to any product. But still this DNA is very important for the aging and certain cancer treatment purposes. This non-coding DNA contains several thousands of repeated nucleotides, several thousands of repeat nucleotides, and these nucleotides are repeated in the pattern of 6. So we have that repeated sequence is AGGTT. So these hexanucleotides are repeated several thousand times in this terminal DNA. Okay, so now we try to understand that why telomeres are important and in what terms they are important. But before we dive into those aspects, we have to first understand certain critical aspects of DNA replication. We had already covered DNA replication in greater detail, but here we want to see certain unseen aspect or certain aspect which you people might have not noticed. So we know that eukaryotic DNA is a non-circular DNA, it's a straight DNA. So when DNA replication start, it gives rise to replication bubble. And if this chain is from the 5' to 3' end, by the antiparallel nature, other strand is going to be a 5' to 3' end. And this is the halfway. So one replication bubble has a two replication fork. This is one replication fork and this is second replication fork. Now to better understand, I would like to draw this diagram in somewhat schematic pattern. So this is 5' end to this is 5' end, and then there is this replication bubble. I am showing it in the angular fashion, and this is the 3' end. The opposite strand, that is 3' end, this is the replication bubble, and this is the 5' end. Now to show that these are the parent strands, I am highlighting it by this yellow color. Okay, so this will distinguish it from its daughter DNA. And this is the exact half of this replication bubble. Now we know that this is the replication fork. The reading direction of the DNA polymerase is from the 3' to 5'. So this 3' end to 5' end is the reading direction for the DNA polymerase. Here also 3' to 5' end, this direction is the reading direction of DNA polymerase. So we know that whenever DNA is read towards the replication fork, it becomes our leading strand, and leading strand means only one RNA primer will be there and DNA will be synthesized continuously. So suppose this is your RNA primer, and so DNA formation starts into this direction. Okay, this becomes a leading. Here we can see that reading direction is away from this replication fork. So at this place it becomes our lagging strand. This is a lagging strand. So there is RNA primer over here and then DNA synthesized like this. RNA primer over here and then DNA synthesized like this. These are the Okazaki fragment. In the lagging strand, DNA synthesis is discontinuous in the form of Okazaki fragment. On this side, on this replication fork, what will happen? Here, DNA synthesis is away from the replication fork. So this is going to be a lagging strand, and here DNA synthesis is going to be towards the replication fork. So this is a leading strand. This is the leading strand. So here RNA primer will be over here like this, and DNA will synthesize continuously like this. Whereas in this case, what will happen? It will synthesize in the discontinuation manner. So RNA primer and DNA synthesize like this. This is the RNA primer and DNA synthesize like this. This thing we already knew. Okay, but now just imagine what will be the picture once this full DNA is replicated. So this is the parent DNA strand. This is 5' to 3' end, and this is the second strand, opposite strand of this parent DNA. This is 5' to 3'. Okay, like this. So this is the exact midway. So now here we know that this part of the chain is the leading. So this is a leading strand, and here only one RNA primer will be there. And so here DNA synthesized in the continuous manner, right? Whereas this half of the DNA is going to be a lagging strand. So here DNA synthesized in the discontinuation manner. So this is RNA primer, DNA synthesized like this. This is RNA primer, DNA synthesized like this. And this is the RNA primer, and DNA synthesized into this direction. Of course, this is ultimate 5' end, this is ultimate 3' end. And of course, let's highlight the parent strand by this yellow highlighter. This is also a parent strand. Now, what about this strand? So we know that this part is the leading part, is the leading strand. So here only one RNA primer and DNA synthesized continuously. Whereas this part is the lagging part. So this is the lagging part of the DNA, and here DNA is a discontinuous. So this is RNA primer, this short piece of DNA, RNA primer, short piece of DNA, then RNA primer and short piece of DNA. So once this replication goes on, what happens? These RNA primers are removed by the nucleus. All these RNA primers are removed by the nucleus. So let's remove them one by one. So this RNA primer is removed. This RNA primer is also removed. This RNA primer is also removed, and this RNA primer is also removed. Here also, so all the RNA primers are removed. The small detail of this mechanism I had already explained to you in the previous video. So all this gap remains once RNA primer is removed. So then particular specific DNA polymerases come, it will fill up this gap by the new DNA. Okay, but remember, any DNA polymerase required pre-formed nucleic acid piece, and it always synthesizes from the 5' to 3' direction. So for filling up this gap, it is on this side, it has already pre-formed nucleus is there. This is the pre-formed nucleus, and it goes on adding nucleotide into this direction. But what about this terminal piece, this extreme 5' end of this daughter DNA? What will happen? Here DNA synthesis should start from here, but it does not have any DNA before 5' end. So now DNA polymerase cannot fill up this gap. The same thing will go over here. All the intermediate gap are filled up by the DNA polymerase, but this extreme 5' end of the gap, which is created by the nucleus action on the RNA primer, this gap is not filled up. Here also this gap is not filled up. So ultimately what happens? When the replication goes on, when replication completes, the daughter DNA, this is the daughter DNA, this is the daughter DNA. Daughter DNA is somewhat shorter by this first RNA primer length. This is also a daughter DNA, and this much shortness of the new DNA is there. So when DNA undergoes replication, the daughter DNAs are shorter than its parent DNA. So this fact I hope you understood. So now what will be the real life percussion of this phenomena? Suppose this is the length of DNA, and out of this length, suppose this much location of the DNA, it contains critical genes, right? And this much is the telomere, and we know that telomeres have a non-coding DNA, and they contain this several thousand repeats of these hexanucleotides. Okay, so basically, if you understand, if this DNA is lost, we will not lose any critical genes. Critical genes are in the centrally located. So suppose this DNA undergoes replication. Suppose one replication occurred. So what will happen? This DNA will get shortened. So let's erase some of the portion of this terminal DNA. Okay. Suppose it has undergone 10 cell division. What will happen? This further shortens. So let's short it. Okay. Now you can see that very small piece of telomere is there. Now if it wants to undergo 11th cell division, what will happen? This critical portion of the genes also lost. So now that daughter DNA cannot survive. You can say in other words that cells can undergo very limited cell division, very limited cell division. And these limited cell divisions are defined by this terminal portion of DNA, this terminal portion of DNA. Suppose these are the critical genes. So whatever the length of this terminal portion of DNA, that is telomere, is there, it permits or it decides the number of cell division particular cell can undergo. So you can easily assume that if some cell has this terminal portion of the DNA very long, then it can have a potential to undergo cell division say 1000 times. But if some cell has very small terminal DNA, then it might go under cell division only for 5 or 10 times. So basically telomeres are also known as mitotic clocks. Telomeres are also known as mitotic clock. Mitotic clocks. Why mitotic clocks? Because the length of this telomere decides how many mitosis particular cell can undergo. So this is true for somatic cells. Somatic cells has a predefined number of cell division under which particular cell can go, and that is decided by this telomere. But what about germ cells and stem cells? What about germ cell and stem cells? Now germ cells and stem cells, they have certain mechanism, certain specific mechanism is there by which they does not face this problem. This telomere shortening is not faced by this germ cell and stem cell because of this special mechanism, and so they can undergo infinite number of cell division. So here we are curious that what is this special mechanism? What is there so special in the germ cells and stem cells so that they can undergo infinite number of cell division? So that special mechanism is orchestrated by one very specific and one very interesting enzyme. Its name is telomerase. Okay. So now we have to learn about the telomerase, that how it will play its role in this part so that particular cell can undergo infinite number of cell division. So to understand that, I am zooming onto this part, right? So we have overhanging 3' end, this is overhanging 3' end, and this short 5' end. I had just zoomed on or taken up, consider only this much part. You can easily understand that why there is a gap over here, because the newly synthesized end, this 5' end, the 5' extreme end RNA primer is not replaced by any DNA, and that's why it is shorter. And this is the main problem that telomerase enzyme is addressing. We know that this terminal end of DNA is just repetitive sequences. And what repetitive sequences they are? They are A, G, 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 T, T. A, G, 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 T, T. So let's redraw this diagram so that I can clearly show you this repetitive pattern. A, G, G, T, T. So I am not going to repeat it for the 1000 number of time, but just 4 times I had shown it in the diagram. Whereas the 5' end is this, and the complementary base pairing which is going to over here is T, C, 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 A, A. Okay, and this is the 5' end. Now this telomerase enzyme, it's basically a combination of protein and RNA. So its protein part is known as TERT subunit, whereas its RNA part, it is known as TERK subunit. So first of all, its protein part, this is your telomerase enzyme, its TERT subunit. This TERT subunit has reverse transcriptase activity. Now reverse transcriptase activity means it can synthesize DNA, using RNA as a template. Till now, we had seen that DNA polymerases synthesize DNA using DNA as a template, but reverse transcriptase activity, it is slightly different than the typical DNA polymerase, is that this reverse transcriptase also synthesizes DNA, but here they are utilizing RNA as a template and not the DNA. Okay, basically reverse transcriptase is a type of DNA polymerase, always remember that reverse transcriptase is not a part of RNA polymerase, it is a part or it is a subtype of DNA polymerase. Here just the difference is the template. Here RNA is utilized as a template. So that template is already embedded into this protein part. So the Turk part is here 3 prime and then it have a RNA sequence of UCCC A and this is the 5 prime part. So now this is a complete assembly of telomerase. This telomerase, now it will identify this 3 prime end and it will bind over here. So what will happen, once this telomerase enzyme binds over here, let's draw it in separate diagram. So we have AGGTT 4 times. This is 3 prime end and this is TCCCA complemented to its opposite strand. So now this telomerase enzyme will bind over here. So it looks like looks like this. So this is your telomerase enzyme with its own template, that is UCCCAA, and this is 5 prime end. So what this telomerase enzyme will do, it will now go on adding nucleotide into this 3 prime end of this longer chain. So and this will be complemented to this. So complemented to U will be A, complemented to C will be G, so it will be 3 times, and complemented to A will be T. So you can see A, G, G, T, T, this sequence is added, which is exact same of this. Now once this hexanucleotide is added, this enzyme moves into this direction, one more hexanucleotide added, then it moves to the right, and then one more hexanucleotides are added. So likewise several hundreds to thousands of these repeats are added by this telomerase enzyme, and once it had added thousands and hundreds of nucleotide, then it gets removed. So here for the clarity of the diagram, I am just showing only single extra hexanucleotide is added, okay, but you have to understand that it's several thousands of nucleotides are added. So once these are added, our telomerase enzyme moves away, it goes away. So this telomerase enzyme is removed, and we have over here we have 3 prime part, and the part which is added by the telomerase enzyme, I am highlighting it by the yellow color. Initially it was not there, it was added by the telomerase enzyme. Now what will happen? Now we have one enzyme, that is DNA polymerase alpha. This DNA polymerase alpha, as we had discussed in the previous lecture, it is one subunit that is known as primase. This primase subunit comes over here at this part, and it will synthesize the primer, RNA primer. So here it will synthesize RNA primer. So A, C, C, C and U, the complementary base pair to this, but this is not a DNA, this is RNA primer, which is synthesized by the primase subunit of DNA polymerase alpha. Now the DNA polymerase subunit of this DNA polymerase alpha will extend this primer into this direction. Okay, so this is 5 prime end, and so it will add nucleotide, deoxynucleotide into this direction. So we have A, C, 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 T, again A, C, 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 T, then A, C, 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 T. Here at this time DNA polymerase alpha is utilizing opposite DNA strand as a template. Remember, this was not the case with this telomerase. Telomerase has its own template, whereas DNA polymerase alpha considers opposite strand as a template. So now you can see this second chain is also elongated, but this is the RNA primer and this needs to get removed. So what here will be done? Nucleus will come over here and it will remove this RNA primer. Now this gap can be filled up? No, this gap cannot be filled up, right? But here we can see that this 5 prime end, which was initially this much short, it is now increased by length up to this level. Okay, so as you can see, our problem, which was created because of such mechanism of DNA polymerase, DNA polymerization, DNA replication, that is being solved by this our telomerase enzyme. So this is the main action of telomerase enzyme, that it prevents shortening of telomeres. So you can easily imagine that in germ cells and stem cells, this telomerase enzyme is highly active, and so the DNA terminals, the terminal ends are very, very lengthy. okay, which this terminal and this telomere, what does it has function? The telomere has certain specific functions. So let's try to enumerate the functions of telomeres. The first and foremost function is it maintains structural integrity of the chromosome by preventing attack by nucleus. Okay, it maintains structural integrity of chromosome. By how it maintains structural integrity of chromosome? The first thing, that it guards critical genes, right? As I told you earlier, it guards critical genes. So if some length is lost, it's okay with our cell. And the second, that this telomere with its associated protein, it also prevents attack by nucleus. So it prevents attack of nucleus. Okay. The second thing, that we know that telomeres are very specific in nature. Say, suppose this is the terminals of DNA. These are the terminals of DNA. It has very peculiar repetitive sequences. Okay, so A, G, G, T, T. These peculiar repetitive sequences are known to our enzyme. So what happens? Sometime DNA gets damaged, and so suppose this much part DNA gets damaged and both the strands are broken. So now our DNA looks like this. Here both strands are broken. So true terminal ends are this. But our enzyme system, how it will identify that these are not the true ends but these are the true ends? The repetitive sequence which lies in the telomere will be identified our enzyme system that okay, these ends are normal, but these ends, this one end and this is second end, these are not normal, these are abnormal. That means this is the broken DNA. So once our enzyme system can sense this broken DNA, then our enzyme system can try to repair this DNA, repair double strand break of DNA. Okay, we will look into more of this various DNA repair mechanism in the later videos, but right now you need to just remember that because of this specific repetitive sequences of these telomeres, our enzyme system can very efficiently recognize these broken ends of DNA and this DNA can be repaired. Okay, so this was all about telomeres and telomerases. If you have any query or confusion, please write it down in the comment section below. Thank you.